Most power stations sold for home backup will not keep a refrigerator running through the night. And the strange part is this: the big number printed on the box has almost nothing to do with whether it will. I am going to show you the math the product pages leave out. By the end, you will know how much power your own refrigerator needs, not a generic one, yours, and how long any power station will actually carry it. This is not a ranking. I will not tell you which one to buy until the end, and only after you understand what you are buying. Because the most expensive mistake in this category is buying the wrong thing correctly. Let me start with the number everybody gets wrong. Every power station leads with watt hours, and every buyer does the same arithmetic in their head. My refrigerator says 150 watts on the label. 1,000 watt hours divided by 150 is about 6.5 hours. Simple. That calculation is wrong, and it is not wrong in the direction you expect. Depending on which refrigerator you own, that estimate can be 30% too low, or it can be far too high. It fails in both directions. Let me deal with the startup spike first, because it is the one thing the rest of the internet does cover. A compressor is a motor, and a motor starting from a dead stop pulls a large gulp of current before settling into its running draw. EcoFlow states that locked rotor amperage typically runs 5 to 7 times higher than running amperage. EdgeStar publishes the working example for one of its own units. Running draw 126 watts. Startup 575. 4.5 times. Scale that to a full-size American refrigerator and startup lands between 800 and 1,500 watts. On anything past about 15 years old, it can reach 2,000. It lasts a second, maybe two, then it is gone. That spike trips cheap inverters. It is real. But here is where everyone else stops and where this video begins. For a refrigerator, the startup spike is almost never your problem. The smallest unit I am testing today is rated at 3,600 watts of surge. Against a refrigerator that spikes to 1,500 watts for 1 second, that is more than double the headroom you need. Every serious power station on the market clears a refrigerator's startup by a wide margin. So the constraint is not watts, it is energy. To turn watts into hours, you need to know what fraction of the day the compressor actually runs. That fraction has a name: duty cycle. Watch what happens when I go looking for it. GE Appliances, the manufacturer, says on its own support page that refrigerator compressors are designed to run 80 to 90% of the time, and that in a hothouse run time may approach 100%. Independent technical sources say 60 to 80%, and the power station industry, the people selling you the batteries, publishes 30 to 40%, 30%, 90%, same appliance, a 3-to-1 spread. Use the low end instead of the high end, and you will buy a battery that dies at 2 in the morning, believing it had days left. Here is the part nobody explains, and it is why all three sources are telling the truth. An older refrigerator with a single speed compressor works in bursts. Fully on, pulling a lot of watts, or fully off, high watts, low duty cycle. A modern refrigerator with a variable speed inverter compressor does the opposite. It almost never shuts off. It hums along at a low speed nearly all day, and that is precisely why it is efficient. Low watts, high duty cycle. Two refrigerators, completely different duty cycles, nearly the same energy per day. So duty cycle is not a number you can look up. It is a property of your specific compressor, and you cannot see it from the outside. Which means the honest answer is this: stop hunting for the duty cycle. You never needed it. Because there is a sticker on your refrigerator that already did the whole calculation for you. If you bought it in the United States, it came with a yellow tag, the EnergyGuide label. That label is not marketing. It is required by the Federal Trade Commission under the energy labeling rule, and the number on it comes from a standardized Department of Energy test procedure. In the middle of that tag is a single figure, estimated yearly energy use in kilowatt hours per year. That number already contains everything: compressor wattage, duty cycle, defrost cycles, door seals, insulation measured across a full year. And you have to do exactly one thing to it: divide by 365. I do not want you taking my word for this. The Building America Solutions Center, run by Pacific Northwest National Laboratory and funded by the Department of Energy, publishes an example label showing 630 kilowatt hours per year and states directly that this is approximately 1.7 kilowatt hours per day. A national laboratory doing the exact arithmetic I am asking you to do in your kitchen. So here's your homework, and it takes under a minute. Find the yellow label, usually on the door, the inside wall, or the back. If it is gone, look up your model number, and the manufacturer publishes the same figure. Divide by 365 and write it down. That is your number. For reference, the Department of Energy puts a modern, efficient refrigerator around 365 kilowatt hours per year, which is 1 kilowatt hour per day. A large side-by-side or French door unit sits near 630, so 1.7 a day. A refrigerator from the 1990s is likely over 1,000, which is more than 3 a day. Now, the two losses nobody puts on a box. The first is inverter loss. A power station stores direct current, your refrigerator runs on alternating current, and conversion is never free. Manufacturers do not publish this. Independent testing does. Outdoor Gear Lab measured the largest unit in this video, delivering 3,790 watt-hours out of a rated 4,096, over 93%, and genuinely excellent. But the same lab notes efficiencies across the category, ranging from under 70% to over 90%, and the mid-range units here measured between 79 and 89. On a bad day, a fifth of the battery you paid for never reaches your refrigerator. The second loss is the one to remember: idle draw. A power station with the inverter switched on consumes power with nothing plugged into it. The display, the fans, the radios. Independent measurements on these units put idle draw at roughly 27 to 35 watts. Hold that next to your number. An efficient modern refrigerator averages about 42 watts across the day, so the box consumes nearly as much power keeping itself switched on as the appliance it is powering. And I am not speculating. Anker published a firmware update for one of the units in this video, and the official announcement states, quote, "The update reduces idle consumption by 50%, a manufacturer confirming in writing that idle draw was large enough to be worth cutting in half." So here is the honest formula. 5 steps. 1. Kilowatt hours per year off your label times 1,000 divided by 365. That is watt hours per day. 2. Divide by 24. That is your average watts. 3. Divide average watts by inverter efficiency. Use 85% if you do not know it, then add 30 watts of idle. That is your real hourly consumption. 4. Divide the power station's watt hours by that number. That is your runtime. 5. Subtract 20%. That step is mine, not a manufacturer's. The Department of Energy figure comes from a laboratory test, and a real outage happens in summer, in a warm house, with the door being opened. GE lists exactly those things as what pushes runtime up. Now let me run that against real hardware. 4 units, all North American models with flat blade outlets. The EcoFlow DELTA 3 Plus, 1,024 watt-hours. The small one, currently under $700. The Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus, 3,584 watt-hours, measured at 89% efficiency. The Anker SOLIX F3800 Plus, 3,840 watt-hours, 6,000 watts continuous dual voltage. And the EcoFlow DELTA Pro 3, 4,096 watt-hours, the best measured efficiency of the group, and by a wide margin, the most expensive. Here are the results, with inverter loss and idle draw already subtracted. The full table is on screen. On a modern, efficient refrigerator, the small Delta 3 Plus gives you 13 hours. The 3 larger units land between 44 and 56. On a large side-by-side, the Delta 3 Plus drops to 9 hours. The Jackery and the Anker both sit near 31. The Delta Pro 3, 39. And on a refrigerator from the 1990s, the small unit manages 5.5 hours, and even the most expensive machine here stops at 24. 3 conclusions. 1. Not a single unit here gives you 3 days on a normal American refrigerator. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive. If you genuinely want 72 hours, you need expansion batteries. And anybody telling you otherwise is selling you something. 2. Keeping the inverter switched on consumed between 14 and 42% of the battery. On the efficient refrigerator, more than a third went on the box itself. 3. And this is the expensive mistake. The small EcoFlow and the large one both come to about 68 cents per watt hour. Same brand, identical value, 4 times the price. So the 4,000 watts on the big unit are not what you are paying for. Your refrigerator needs 150. What you buy is not watts, it is hours. And once you understand that, the ranking flips. On price per watt hour, the Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus is the strongest of the 4. Now, the trick that changes all of these numbers, and it costs nothing. You do not have to run your refrigerator continuously. FoodSafety.gov, the Federal Food Safety Authority, states that a refrigerator with the door closed keeps food safe for up to 4 hours without power. A full freezer holds for about 48. So run the power station in cycles, 4 hours on, 4 hours off, door closed throughout. You are not letting the food warm up. You are staying inside a federal guideline while cutting your energy use nearly in half. And the second benefit is bigger. Switching the inverter off between cycles deletes that idle draw entirely. The largest hidden loss in the whole calculation, gone. Do that, and the small unit stops being a 9-hour machine and comfortably covers an overnight outage on a large refrigerator. Same hardware, better decision. So, the verdict by household. 1 modern efficient refrigerator, worst case a storm knocking the power out overnight. Buy small. A 1,000 watt-hour unit like the Delta 3 Plus, run in cycles, covers that night. Spending 4 times more solves a problem you do not have. A large side-by-side or French door, or you want a full day and into the next. That is the 3.5 kilowatt-hour class, and the Jackery is the value pick right now. A refrigerator plus a garage freezer, a well pump, anything on 240 volts. That is the Anker SOLIX F3800 Plus, where the 6,000 watts and the dual voltage are genuinely doing work. And if your refrigerator is from the 1990s, I have unwelcome news. Nothing here gets you through a long outage. Your appliance is the problem, not the battery. One last thing, and it is the most important line in this video. Do not buy from a runtime claim on a product page. Find your yellow label. Divide by 365. Run the 5 steps. It takes 1 minute, and it is the difference between a purchase that works during the outage and one that leaves you standing in a dark kitchen with a very expensive box that just went quiet. The full comparison table is linked below. If this saved you from a bad purchase, subscribing helps this channel keep making it. I will see you in the next one.